Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking into G Skin and Beauty Institute.
Oh, yeah. G-Skin.
Yeah. I think they've got a pretty big presence, actually. They've got locations in Nevada, Illinois, and Arizona.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, and we're talking like Reno and Henderson, Chicago, Naperville, Oak, Brook, Schaumburg, and even out in Chandler, Arizona.
Wow, that's a pretty big spread.
Yeah, so they've got a really interesting range of programs, too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, everything from kind of your standard cosmetology courses to, really getting into some more specialized areas like advanced aesthetics, which even includes things like CoolSculpting and laser treatments.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So what we really want to do today is figure out, like, what makes G-Skin different? Like, what are they doing that's kind of unique, and how does that translate into their student success in the beauty industry?
Right.
And, if you're interested in learning more about this, we'll even point you toward their Beauty Talk podcast a little bit later.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff.
It sounds like G-Skin is really, like, on top of things, Because the beauty industry, it's changing all the time.
Right.
And clients, they want the latest and greatest. So
Yeah.
it's smart that G-Skin is teaching stuff like CoolSculpting.
Yeah, I was really intrigued by that when I saw that.
Yeah.
Why is that such a big deal? Like, what makes CoolSculpting so popular in the aesthetics world?
Well, I think a lot of it is that it's non-invasive, right? A lot of people, they want to reduce fat, but they don't want to go through surgery.
Makes sense.
So it's FDA cleared too.
Okay.
Pretty good safety record, I'd say. And it works. So, if you're a G-Skin graduate and you've already got that skill under your belt, you're going to be in high demand.
Right. Like, you're coming out of school already ahead of the game.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's not just about, having this one trendy procedure on your resume, right? Yeah. They also offer, like, medical professionals, CEUs, which kind of tells me they're serious about
ongoing
education. Yeah.
Yeah. And you've got to have that in this industry because things change so fast. New technologies and treatments are always popping up and
all the time.
Yeah. So it's essential to keep learning if you want to stay on top of things.
Right. So they're not just setting their students up for, that first job after graduation. They're really giving them the tools to build a whole career.
Right, to grow and evolve.
Yeah.
Stay at the forefront of the field.
Now, something else that I thought was really interesting is this student-teacher program that they have.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about that.
Well, it seems like they're really big on mentorship and practical experience.
You got it. And mentorship is huge in this industry because so much of it is hands-on, right? You have to be able to actually do the work.
Right.
So with this program, the more experienced students get to kind of step into that leadership role, and they get to teach the newer students what they've learned.
Yeah, so it benefits both sides.
Exactly. It creates this really supportive learning environment where everybody's helping each other out.
I love that.
Yeah, it's great.
So let's dive a little deeper into their advanced aesthetics program.
Okay.
Their website's got this really detailed menu of all the treatments they offer, and some of this stuff is like seriously high tech.
I was looking at that earlier, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking cryo body sculpting, laser tattoo removal, hydrodermabrasion, even this thing called a Pixel 8 RF microneedling laser.
Whoa.
Yeah, right. So what are these treatments? What makes them, kind of stand out in the beauty world?
Well, they're definitely cutting edge. They're the treatments that everyone's asking for these days.
Okay.
So cryo body sculpting, that's another way to get rid of fat, but this time it uses cool temperatures like CoolSculpting.
Interesting.
And then you've got laser tattoo removal, which makes sense because tattoos are always changing, right? Like maybe you want to get rid of an old tattoo or change it up a bit.
Yeah, you don't want that Tweety bird from college anymore.
Exactly. And then hydrodermabrasion, that's a gentler way to exfoliate than the old methods.
Okay.
So it's a lot more comfortable for the clients. And what about that Pixel 8 RF microneedling laser? I mean, that sounds pretty intense.
It does, doesn't it? It's actually combining two things, microneedling, which is where you make tiny little punctures in the skin to help it produce more collagen.
Oh, wow.
And then radio frequency energy to tighten and firm the skin even more.
Oh, wow.
So it's a non-surgical way to deal with wrinkles and scars and uneven skin tone.
So G-Skin is teaching their students how to use all of this stuff.
Yeah, they want to give their students every advantage, right? They want to make sure they have the skills to really thrive in the beauty industry.
That's impressive. Okay. But they're also doing something else that I find really interesting. They have their own podcast.
Oh, yeah. Beauty Talks.
Yeah, Beauty Talk. So why do you think they're doing that?
I think it's a smart move because it lets them reach a lot more people. And they can share all kinds of insights about the beauty industry, and show off their expertise a little bit. Yeah, they can connect with potential students, people who are already studying there, even people who have been working in the beauty industry for years.
That's a great way to build community.
Yeah, I was also checking out their Instagram feed, and they've got, they highlight their students and show what's trending and give you a little peek behind the scenes at G-Skin.
That's awesome. So they're really using these platforms to create a network within the beauty world.
Yeah, and they're showing that they get it.
Yeah.
It's not just about the technical stuff.
Right.
It's about building relationships and staying up to date with trends and being part of that larger community.
It's all connected.
It is. We've learned a lot about G-Skin and Beauty Institute so far.
Yeah, a lot of great stuff.
Their programs, the way they focus on advanced techniques, their commitment to ongoing education.
Definitely.
But there's still a lot more to explore, so stick with us. We'll be right back to dive even deeper.
We're back, and what's really sticking with me is how G-Skin and Beauty Institute is really kind of blurring the lines between beauty and wellness.
Oh, like they're not just teaching techniques.
Yeah.
They're really shaping the next generation of beauty professionals.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows you where the industry is headed.
I think you're right. It's not just about aesthetics anymore. It's about understanding the science behind it all.
Yeah, you mentioned this holistic approach earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What does that actually look like in practice at G-Skin?
Well, it starts with recognizing that everybody's different,
Right.
It's not just about what's on the surface, it's about the whole person.
Yeah.
Their mental and emotional well-being too, so things like stress, sleep, nutrition, all of that plays a role.
So they're teaching their students to think about all of these different factors.
Exactly, and that's why those medical professionals, CEUs, are so important.
Yeah, because it gives them the tools to address their clients' needs on all these different levels.
You got it.
And it's not just about applying the right products anymore. It's about understanding how everything works together.
Right. And that's
Right.
where things like LED light therapy and ultrasound therapy come in.
Yeah. I was noticing that they include that in their advanced aesthetics program.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting stuff.
So tell me more about those modalities.
Well, LED light therapy, it uses different colors of light to treat different skin issues.
Okay.
So blue light can help with acne, for example,
Oh, interesting.
and red light that can help with wrinkles and inflammation.
I've heard of that.
It's really popular because it's non-invasive, there's no pain, and you don't have to hide away afterwards.
Makes sense.
And then ultrasound therapy, that's been around for a while in the medical world,
Mm-hmm.
but now it's being used more and more for beauty treatments too.
How does that work?
Well, it uses sound waves to get deep into the skin.
Oh, wow.
And that can stimulate blood flow and collagen production and even help break down fat cells.
So it's not just about looking good.
Mm.
It can actually have some real therapeutic benefits.
Exactly. And that's what I think is so cool about what G-Skin is doing. They're not just teaching techniques, they're teaching their students to understand the why behind it all.
Right. So they're not just technicians. They're becoming experts.
Exactly. And they can tailor their treatments to each client's individual needs.
I like that. Okay. So we talk about advanced aesthetics, but they also have, cosmetology aesthetics and nail technology programs.
Right.
What are the main differences between those?
So their cosmetology program that covers all the basics of hair care styling, cutting, the foundation for any aspiring hairstylist.
Yeah.
Aesthetics that dives deep into skincare, facials, waxing, makeup, all the things you need to know to be an esthetician.
Yeah. And what about nail technology?
Well, nail art is huge these days, right? So that program teaches students all the skills they need to create those intricate designs and specialized manicures.
It seems like all of these disciplines are kind of overlapping now more than they used to be.
Yeah, and G-Skin seems to get that because they include makeup training in both their cosmetology and aesthetics tracks.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, it gives their graduates more flexibility, more options when they're looking for jobs.
So a hairstylist who can also do makeup, or an esthetician who knows how to do nails, that's a really valuable skill set.
Right, and it creates a better experience for the clients, too.
Like a one-stop shop for all your beauty needs.
Exactly. And then, of course, you've got the advanced aesthetics program on top of that with all the high-tech stuff we were talking about before.
Right, like CoolSculpting and laser treatments and microneedling.
Yeah, so G-Skin graduates are coming out of school with these in-demand skills.
It's not just the technical stuff either.
Right.
They're also learning how to consult with clients and create treatment plans and follow all the safety protocols.
Yeah, so they're prepared to be responsible professionals who are focused on their clients' needs.
And it all goes back to that idea of creating a supportive learning environment.
Absolutely. That student-teacher program is a great example.
Mm.
And their social media presence, too. You can really see that sense of community.
Yeah, everybody's working together and supporting each other.
And celebrating each other's successes.
Yeah, it seems like a really positive place to be.
Which is so important because this industry can be tough, you know?
Right, it's competitive.
Yeah. So G-Skin is giving their students that support system they need to thrive both professionally and personally.
And they're not just throwing them out there after graduation either.
Right.
They have a whole career services team to help them find jobs.
Yeah. Resume writing, interview, prep networking opportunities, the whole 9 yards.
So it's really like a lifelong support system.
It is. G-Skin is invested in the success of their graduates, and they understand that learning doesn't stop when you get your diploma.
It's a constantly evolving field.
Exactly. So they offer continuing education to help their graduates stay on top of their game.
This has been a really eye-opening look at G-Skin and Beauty Institute.
Yeah, I'm really impressed with everything they're doing.
It's amazing to see how they're blending beauty and wellness.
Yeah, it's the future of the industry.
We've covered a lot, but there's always more to uncover. Right. Stay tuned. We'll be right back to wrap things up. And we are back. You know, we've been talking a lot about G-Skin and Beauty Institute and their approach to beauty and wellness.
Yeah, it's pretty fascinating.
It is. Like, even those technologies they're incorporating into their advanced aesthetics program, the LED light therapy and ultrasound therapy, that's really cool stuff.
Yeah, it's really interesting how they're using those things in the beauty world.
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about those and kind of how they're gaining traction in the beauty world?
Well, technology is just becoming such a big part of beauty these days. And LED light therapy, it uses, different wavelengths of light to target different things.
Huh?
Like blue light, for example, can help with acne.
Oh, interesting.
And then red light can stimulate collagen production, which helps with wrinkles and inflammation.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's really popular because it's non-invasive, it doesn't hurt, and there's no downtime afterwards.
Yeah, that makes sense. They would appeal to a lot of people. Okay, so what about ultrasound therapy? I know that's been used in the medical field for a long time, but how are they using it for beauty?
Well, ultrasound uses sound waves, to go deep into the skin.
Oh, wow.
And that can help with blood circulation and producing collagen, and it can even help break down fat cells.
So it's not just superficial, it's really getting in there.
Right, and it can be used for a lot of different things, like reducing cellulite and tightening skin that's starting to sag.
So it seems like these technologies are really kind of blurring the lines between beauty and, like actual therapeutic benefits.
I think so. They're not just aesthetic treatments anymore.
Right, it's more than just looking good.
Exactly. And I think that's what sets G-Skin apart. They're not just teaching their students how to do these treatments, they're teaching them the science behind them.
Right, so they really understand how they work.
Exactly. They're becoming skincare experts.
And they can really customize the treatments for each individual client.
Absolutely. It all comes back to that holistic approach.
Right, treating the whole person.
Exactly. So they're blending traditional beauty techniques with these advanced technologies.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. Okay, so we've talked about the curriculum and the technologies, but what about the students themselves? What's it like to actually be a student at G-Skin?
Well, from everything we've seen, they really try to create this supportive and collaborative learning environment.
Okay.
And that student-teacher program is a perfect example of that,
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, it's all about peer-to-peer learning and mentorship.
Yeah, and even on their social media, you can see that sense of community.
Right, everyone's working together and supporting each other and celebrating each other's accomplishments.
Yeah, it seems like a really fun and positive place to be.
Exactly, and that's so important, especially in an industry that can be so competitive.
Right.
So they're really setting their students up for success, not just professionally, but personally, too.
It's about those relationships and building a network.
It is. And that network extends beyond graduation, too, because they even help their students find jobs.
Oh, wow. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, they have a career services team that helps with resumes and interviews, and they connect students with potential employers.
Oh, that's great.
And they offer continuing education so graduates can stay up to date on all the new trends and advancements.
So they're really invested in their students' success, even after they graduate.
They are. They know that the beauty industry is always changing, and they want to make sure their graduates are prepared for whatever comes next.
This deep dive into G-Skin and Beauty Institute has been so informative.
It really has.
We've learned so much about their programs and their focus on advanced techniques and technologies and their dedication to creating a supportive learning environment. But I think the biggest takeaway is that they're really changing the beauty industry. you know?
I agree.
They're blending science and artistry and a real focus on wellness. It's really impressive.
It's exciting to see where they go from here.
It is. Well, if you're interested in learning more about G-Skin and Beauty Institute, you can visit their website and check out their Beauty Talk podcast.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a listen.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.